Welcome to Inside the Thunder. I'm KD Hudnall, and on this show, I go one-on-one with some of the most recognizable names in Marshall athletics history. He was named to the All-Conference USA freshman team in 2012 and named a freshman All-American by the Sporting News. In 2014, he was an All-Conference USA honorable mention selection and a 2014 Conference USA champion. He's easily one of the most versatile linebackers of the Conference USA era. Today, we're going inside the Thunder with Middletown, Ohio's own DJ Hunter. Let's take it back to the early 2010s, I guess it is, on this timeline, 2012, 2013, 2014. Marshall football was making a reemergence, a big-time reemergence, after a lull in wins in the Conference USA era. And it culminated really in 2014, and we all know that, with the Conference USA Championship, one of the best teams to ever take the field at Marshall University. I don't think very many people will argue that. Right up there with some of those teams of the 90s. And anytime you can win a conference championship, you just put the exclamation point at the end of that. Now, today I got DJ Hunter, one of those, heat-seeking missiles from the second level on that Herd defense. And we're going to kick it for a little bit. You know, you've heard DJ on the ThunderCast a little bit. You've heard him on some other projects that we've had over the years. And I'm really excited to have him with me here today on Inside the Thunder to kind of peel back the curtain a little bit and just have a good time and a good conversation. So thanks, man, for sitting down with me and, letting the fans get a little bit closer to you and learning some of these stories that you've got lined up. I can't wait to hear some of them.
Yeah, man, no problem. You're my favorite anyways. It's always laid back, good conversation, good company anyways.
You guys heard that, right? All you other Herd athletes out there, see, you're getting an endorsement right here from somebody who knows the score, who knows the drill. You're going to have a great time here with me on Inside the Thunder. Look, man, everybody loves to know the story of how our all-time greats get to Marshall, right? You're coming out of Ohio, pretty highly touted guy. I don't mind saying that. So how does a guy like DJ Hunter sift through the offers, sift through the jungle of colleges coming at you to land in Huntington, West Virginia to play linebacker for the Herd?
So my road to Huntington, West Virginia was a little bit different than everybody. I took a little unorthodox path. But for me, it's Jaywan Sider, Kelly Raines, Doc Holliday, and Mike Hamrick. Man, those are my guys. I always tell them I'm forever indebted to them in my university, and everything is done for me. So I knew him from West Virginia, my official visit in West Virginia and everything. And then, like I said, my path was a little unorthodox. So when it was time to narrow it down from a couple schools, it was definitely a no-brainer for me. It was Marshall University and going with Doc Holliday and just being there, being loyal and being consistent. So that's how I ended up there, man.
Wait a minute. Were you about to commit to the Mountaineers? Had Doc not got hired and not gotten the job, would you have been a Mountaineer? It's okay.
I actually got my letter of intent to WVU at home still. Like I definitely was gonna probably sign with West Virginia. West Virginia and Michigan were my final two to be.
Wow. Okay. So you were damn destined to put on some type of blue and gold, it felt like. I mean, it was either West Virginia or Michigan. And the Herd makes the hire for Doc Holliday, and that did it. You wanted to maintain that relationship that you had built with Coach Holliday and Coach Cedar.
Like I said, it was a little unorthodox.
Yeah, a little bit.
Kind of like with me, Trayvon Van, we took a little bit of a different road to get to Marshall University.
Yeah.
But definitely when it came down to narrow between a couple of schools, it was a no-brainer for Marshall University.
So at some point you didn't just sign and show up, right? You had to see what it was all about. You had to go and at least get eyes on what they were doing in Huntington, what the stadium looked like, what the facilities looked like. You had to look at it, right? So if you had a visit, when you had a visit, and you're checking it all out, was there a singular moment or something that you saw or a way that you felt that just solidified it? It was like, yes, I want to stay with these coaches that I built a relationship with, but was there something that went, dang, this is absolutely the right choice?
There was nothing. The
What?
first day I got to Huntington was the first day I ever seen the campus
Holy
and
moly.
everything. It was just like, okay, you're coming in I think January, and that was it. Took
Wow.
advantage of the opportunity, embraced it every single day, the good, the bad, the ups and downs, and just really took advantage of my opportunity, man. It was the best decision ever. I met some brothers that I would never trade for anything. I love my teammates. I love that Power M, that Kelly Green, everything
Yeah.
about West Virginia. It's my second home. I have nothing negative to say. Our school president, rest in peace to him and his family. Just everything, man. I just love Marshall University. Everything about it, man.
See, that's what's wild to me is hearing that, because I didn't know that. We've talked and known each other for several years, and while we've never really explored this topic in this way, I I know you as this guy that's like Kelly Green for real. It's like there. So to hear like, nope, I just kind of showed up, and for a place to have that sort of real impact, you're like, I didn't know really nothing about it, and I showed up, and I left that place bleeding green, like bleeding green. That's one of my favorite things about you, not just as a player, but as a guy, as a alum. It's like I don't catch you rocking some other, like
Never,
I'm from
never,
Ohio, so I also wear a Buckeyes hoodie from now and then.
never,
Never, right? Never.
never.
So that's what's so intriguing to me. I would not have guessed that first day of school was the first time I saw the place. So on that, along those lines, you had been visiting. You mentioned some larger schools, some big schools with that, pretty impressive facilities in their own right. So you walk in and you see Jones C. Edwards Stadium, and you come inside the first time, and you're like, "What's the initial reaction there?"
So it definitely isn't Lane Stadium, but
Right?
it's all right, man. She's the most beautiful thing I ever laid my eyes on.
She
I
is.
love I love the Joan, everything about her, literally.
Yeah.
My love and loyalty for my university is a little bit different than everybody else's, no matter what. Like I said, I'm forever indebted to my university and what it's done for me, and what my athletic director was able to do for me, my head coach, my coaches, my president, just my entire university. So, Marshall University, in and out. I bleed green. West Virginia is my second home. We support even though I'm a dot guy, I support everything about everything they got going on now with Coach Huff. We want you to win. Go out there and do what we know you can do with these kids,
Yep.
and bring us another one home. We supporting you.
Well, it is time. We do need another title in Huntington. The trophy case is getting a little lonesome. There's got to be an empty spot that's just like begging to have something sitting on it. And putting a Sun Belt Conference championship beside that Conference USA championship would be pretty nice. Let me toss you a little bit of stat that you probably knew, but I don't know if you knew for sure. When we won the Conference USA, we became the first FBS team to win a conference championship in two different conferences, right? We won the MAC, and then we won when you guys won the Conference USA. That set the stat, right? So I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say if we were to win a Sun Belt Conference championship, we'd probably be the first school to win in 3 different conferences, and I think that's pretty freaking cool, man. That is
100%. I ain't gonna say if. I think they're gonna do it, man. I definitely do. I like what Coach Huff's got going on in Huntington. I
yeah.
think he's cooking up something special with those kids, and I'm ready. I'm ready to see him bring one back. I'm ready to see him tear down the goalpost, because I'm definitely gonna be there watching as well.
That's what I'm talking about, man. I got a piece. Well, it's right there, a little piece of the goalpost from 2014, right behind that football.
I couldn't
Uh,
get it. I tried. Couldn't get it.
I got 2. I took my son to the game. It was very important to me to take him to that game, even though I was too old to be rushing the field. Right? I was like, but he was. I don't know how old he was at that time, like 13 maybe. But I felt like, okay, if we win this game, he'll remember that forever. Right. So I've got to, even though I might be too old, I'm doing this for him. I want him to have this memory of carrying out the goalpost and carrying it to the steel mill and standing there and having him cut a piece off and him getting it. Right. So we ended up with 2 pieces, and he talks about that from time to time, so that was a cool memory. So let me say thank you for that, because that's a memory that you gave me, and that's something that you allowed me to give to my son. And as I've gotten a little bit older and I've dived into doing these sort of interviews, whenever I have the opportunity to thank players for allowing me to give something to my son, I always want to do that, because I doubt you guys get that enough. It's just so special, building those memories. Now he's 20 and doing his own thing, and now living his life and all that good stuff. But that was a good memory.
Sure, man. I was just happy to be a part of it, man, with a good group of guys, a great group of guys. Let me take that back. Not a good group, a great group of guys.
So help me get the record straight. When was the first year you you showed up in Huntington?
So I got there in 2010. So I was there with Vinny, Omar, Delvin, Georgie, Tyson, like all the guys, man. Especially Omar, man. Omar, I love Omar. I talk to Omar from time to time. Vinny is obviously the GOAT, clearly. But yeah, man, those were a good group of guys. I think don't get enough credit, also, especially like the Omar Browns of the world.
I would agree.
He definitely set the standard, man. He was an animal, man. I almost slipped up and said something I wasn't supposed to. He's a freak animal. He was an animal, man.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Omar Brown was a terror from that safety position. Fans from that era know, right? But we live in a world now that's very YouTube heavy, and you can watch these clips and get to know some of these players. Whereas guys from my era, unless they're named Pennington or Moss or Leftwich, a lot of them fly under the radar. These great players that we talk about. Fortunately, the young folks of today, they can go back and watch a DJ Hunter highlight, but they can go back and watch some, a full length game of the Louisiana Tech Conference Championship game or something like that. So that's something cool that we are now, and I say this every episode. I'm that nerd that does that. I go back and I watch the highlights from 14 or a specific player's highlights. So thinking about those moments, those times, those years, I get this a lot, but I get the type of answer I feel like you're about to give me, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What is it that sticks out to you about that time in your life? The being on the field with those dudes, is it games? Is it plays? Or is it something else?
Man, to be completely honest, me and Taj Lemon was talking about this yesterday. We both were just like, man, I wish we could just get dropped off at Marshall from day one and just live it all over again. I mean, the wins were always great, but those relationships you built along the way, just you literally come to school with people from all walks of life, from all areas. Like I got a brother in Sweden, Sebastian Johansson. I still talk to him often. Like Taj Letman, Swag, Evan, Neville, Freak, like we all still communicate every day. It's just those relationships with people that you're gonna talk to forever. Like Taj's son is my godson. I helped name him. His name's Trace. Like it's just the little stuff, man. Like I'll love those guys forever. It's the relationships for me. The success we have is there. It's already there. It's we won the conference championship. We did it. We got the stats. We got the awards. We got the Catos. We got the Schulers. We got the Darryl Roberts and Neville Hewlett's playing in the NFL for 9 years.
Yeah.
We got all that.
Yeah.
But it's just the relationships we got and made along the way, man. It's second to none for me.
So is this, what's special about it to you? Is it the times on the field during the games when you were suited up and going to battle with those guys? Or is it when you're away from the bright lights and you're in the locker room, either after an ass busting practice or right after a game, where you can just take a breath and just chill with your boys for a minute? What is it, more of that or more of the on the field for you?
I mean, anytime you go on that field and put on that battle armor and go to war, it's always something special and it's a little different.
Right.
But I feel like now just the relationships and the memories built from the past, like just the games, college, just going out, living life, and just the stuff we laugh about and talk about now. I love that more than anything.
So I imagine the group chat is pretty lively.
Yeah, 100%. One time I was in Atlanta celebrating my birthday, and then we were all just on FaceTime. It was me, AJ Luggett, James Rouse, Corey Tyndall, Swag, Evan. It was like 10 of us all on FaceTime just talking about the good old days. And that's what it's about for me. You get lifelong brothers, lifelong friends. And that's the main thing for me. That's what I love the most, because the game is only here for a short time. But those
Yeah.
relationships gonna last forever, man. Just like the memories you got with your brothers. Rest in peace, Devin Johnson. Just some of the guys, man. Just the good times with the guys. That's my main thing.
Yeah. I'm not trying to make you feel old or anything. I'm certainly not. But uh, next season, you guys hopefully will be able to get back together. 2024 will mark 10 years from that 2014 team's utter domination.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to think that the athletic department wants to commemorate that anniversary. So hopefully, man, all of you guys get to come back and be on that field again, one more time. Won't be the last time, because at Marshall we love to celebrate our champions. We love to do that. So hopefully that's something that will happen, but I don't want to fast forward. We got 2023 to get through. Then we can worry about 2024, man. Tell me a story though. You can be as serious as you want. You can be as lighthearted as you want. This can be about anything you want. But tell me a story from your time at Marshall that you just love thinking about, that really makes you feel good inside, or appreciate your time at Marshall, or whatever the case may be. I love hearing these stories that only you might know, that the fans might not know, but these are the type of things that make them feel like they're a little bit closer to DJ Hunter now.
Man, to be honest, like I said, my love for my university runs deep.
Yep.
So for me to just really pinpoint it to one time, 1 year, one area, I really couldn't do it, man. I really embraced my time from start to finish. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed everything about the city of Huntington and the tradition about Marshall University. Every single thing, like I really took it to heart, and I keep it near and dear to my heart even to this day. So I really can't narrow it down to anything, man. It's just my brothers and just everything about them. So you won't really get too much of a crazy answer from
Well, it
me.
didn't have to be crazy, man. You could have been like, look, when we were lining up against Louisiana Tech coming out of the I was dressed and ready for that game at like 10 a.m., or something like the juices were flowing. It was going to happen. Like, you know what I mean? It's just those type of things that some of those dudes, I tell you what, I'm gonna bring it back to, I'm gonna tell you a story. I'm gonna share a story that's on a former episode because I love this story. I was fortunate enough to talk to Marshall Hall of Famer Melvin Cunningham. He played defensive back, played safety for the Herd in the mid 90s, All-American and a national champion, right? Like, hell of a great dude. And he told me, he was telling us like the talk of the town going into the 96 season was the Herd defense. It was supposed to be the Herd defense, and they knew it. They knew they were good. And then out of nowhere comes this wide receiver that enrolls at Marshall that nobody expected to come, a dude by the name of Randy Moss. So all of a sudden, the hype was about this dude that, they all knew him because they're West Virginia guys. You know him. And he was like, man, I wanted to get my eyes on this guy. So I drove to the stadium. I put my hoodie on. I tied it tight, and I snuck in up in the stands, and I was watching this dude, and he was like, he's like, man, wow. He's like, that dude was something special. And of course, we all know that dude is something special. But see, that's the type of story that nobody knows that, and Melvin was like kind enough to share that story with me and the Herd fan base and anybody that listens to the show. And I thought, that's a pretty good story, man. Cause he was right. That 96 defense, or that 96 defense was pretty fierce. But you guys had a pretty fierce unit too.
For sure. And so the thing about it is, we knew the people that we were facing in practice were the best people we were going to see all year.
Yeah.
So I'm going against Cato. I'm going against Tommy Schuler, Gator Hoskins, Devin Johnson, Stuart Butler, and the core wide receivers that they had. And I'm lining up next to animals, Neville Hewitt, Evan McKelvey. Behind me is Taj Letman, AJ Leggett, Tyquan Lane, corners, Daryl Roberts, Corey Tyndall, who all, like, literally everybody went on to get an opportunity to go play somewhere else. It's just when we knew we put on that armor, it was war, and I could count on them.
Yeah.
So that's history. It's
Yeah.
it's recorded. You can go just
Right.
look. We did what we did.
That's a similarity that I heard from Melvin. He's like, our work was Monday through Friday or whatever. Saturday was the day off because we knew we had already played the best team in the conference all week long. He said it was almost it was almost unfair, but yeah, you want to go out there and dominate anyway. So
for sure, and that's what we did the whole 2014. Besides that one slip up game, and that week was kind of fishy to me from jump. Like I have my little theory. It was funny from jump, from the meeting, from the first initial meeting. I was like, okay, like this week is kind of off. Like everybody a little laid back more than I ever seen. So I don't know. Yeah,
that's wild. Yeah, we all know how that one played out, and that really, what that drives home to me is just how extremely difficult it is to go undefeated. That's what it is. Sometimes it doesn't have to do with how great your team is. Sometimes things just are off, like you said. It just doesn't feel right. But it doesn't. Ultimately, it didn't matter, right? It mattered in the capacity of an undefeated season, but you still ultimately win the conference championship, and you go in and throttle an 11-win Northern Illinois team in the Boca Raton Bowl, which myself and many other folks at that time were like, man, this is kind of like a G5 national title game. Like, this is two 11-win teams. Like, this is pretty legit.
Yeah, and we didn't want to play. FYI.
I'm sure you didn't, and the score showed that.
Yeah, we did not want to play them because we knew what we were going to do to them. We were just pissed off at that point, so we was like, we're going to beat the brakes off of them while we're here.
I don't think they thought that, though, but boy, oh boy, they found out in quick and short order that it was like relentless from the jump to the final whistle. But that was just a fun team to watch. It was a fun team to sit in the stands, and I can't imagine what it was like to be in the huddle and play alongside those guys that were all high. You ripped off like the entire defensive names, and every one of those guys was like, yeah, that was the guy was a stud. He was a stud. Yep, he was awesome. So it's like, dang, man. It's like, point me to the weak link. I dare you, please.
Exactly, because you got to think about it. James Rouse went to the NFL, undrafted free agent. We obviously know what happened with Neville and Swag, 8-9 year NFL veterans. Taj went on to get some tryouts and some workouts. I went to the CFL. Corey Tyndall played in the CFL. Who else? Let me think. Keith Baxter played in the NFL.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot Keith was on that defense.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like everybody got their opportunity to go to either the CFL or NFL. We all made it. We all went on and did a little bit more than what was expected.
Yeah.
According to Mr. Herm Edwards, who came to our university and said only one person was going to make it. I kind of want to tweet him like, man,
how you like me now, Herm?
A couple of people off that team are still playing in the NFL,
buddy. Herm, you play to win the game, right? And you're playing to win the game of life here, right?
Exactly. And then you can't even think about the babies that were on the team that made it. So it's like, sorry, Mr. Edwards, don't come back.
You were wrong.
You were wrong. Don't come back.
I hate to tell you, you were wrong. Here's one of, I told you before we hit the record button. This is one of my favorite things to talk about because these guys that came to work every day and they don't get. We all know the names that you ripped off, all the stars from that team, but there were guys that came to work every day, busted their butts, meetings, weight room, practices, always where they wanted to be. You could count on them, but they just won't get the shine that they deserve. Every team has them. And I've been fortunate enough to learn some of these players through these other interviews. Who are some of those guys on the team for you at that time that just won't get enough credit, despite how really honestly good they were for the team at that time?
I mean, to be completely honest, you got to just look at it. Look at the babies we had on the team that went on to do what they did in their career that just weren't good enough to play at the time. But in due time, they got the moment and they took off with it. You got to think. Look at Malik Gant.
Yeah.
Rest his soul. Look at Malik Gant. Look at Chase Hancock. Like, we had some big time guys that was like on our team that just, the team was so loaded. You just couldn't play right now. it's all right, but look how their career propelled.
Right.
Malik again went on to the NFL. He was a big time guy in his senior seasons, along with Chase Hancock. It was quite a few guys, to be completely honest, man, that just weren't ready to play at the time. But look at their career now, especially like my favorite, kind of bias, like you said, Chase Hancock.
Yeah.
That's my
Great
guy.
dude.
Love him. Hardworking guy. Very athletic. You'll see him. He ain't got too much swag on the field, but he's a technician. He's
There you go.
smart.
That's a
He's gonna be
great
in the
word.
right place at the right time. Do his job. You can count on him. He's accountable, consistent. Like it's so many people, man. That team was loaded when you just look back on it. It's nuts.
Yeah. That's a
It's
great
crazy.
word. That's a great word, technician. And I always felt like that was, you just summed up what I could never figure out what I wanted to describe. I just called Chase Mr. Consistency because he just showed up. He was always, give me 9 tackles a game, every game, and he'll get that to you. That's what you need. That's what I'll do for you.
Exactly.
He's always where he wanted to be. I loved talking to him. Of course, he holds a special place for Herd fans because he's a West Virginia kid. He was a walk-on and then earned his spot and turned into an all-conference player by the end of his career. So what you just described, Malik Gant's another one. Devastating news to hear that he passed it a couple weeks ago, last week, I think it was, but so fun of a player to watch at Marshall. I mean, so versatile, so fierce. He just didn't have an ounce of hesitation in him. You know, he was so fun to watch.
No fear at all.
Yeah, such a good guy. Such a good guy to watch. Such a great player. I wish I'd have had the opportunity to speak to him at some point. I never was blessed to be able to do that, but it doesn't stop the appreciation for him as a player, right? Because that's the only capacity I knew him in. Let me get deep for a second, DJ, because there are youngsters that are in your shoes right now. So thinking about your trip, like your journey, right? You're coming out of high school, you're doing the recruiting process. However, how that went for you is how it went for you. And then you show up at Marshall for the first day, first time ever, and you're seeing this whole new environment. So looking back now, if you could go back in time, talk to yourself as a senior in high school and a freshman, an incoming freshman in college, that era, what advice do you give to yourself at that time?
So for me, just being a senior, definitely it would just be, just listen to your parents, listen to your elders, listen to everybody that's helped you get to where you are in your career. Stay consistent, stay disciplined, stay focused on the journey, because you never know how things could go. And just coming in as a freshman, take advantage of your opportunities, be accountable, show up, take coaching, go in there, be a sponge, do everything that you can do to get to where you want to go, because now you're here. This isn't high school anymore. Everybody's equal. You're looking at people just coming from everywhere, and they all were all conference guys, all state guys. So now it's an equal playing field. What are you going to do to separate yourself?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing I could say about Daryl Roberts. Like, the dude was a workaholic every single day. We would literally go leave a workout. He would go ahead, get his best. He would go do extra field work. He would go do anything extra film. Evan McKelvey, film junkie. Like, it's just, you just got to do something a little bit extra to get to where you want to go. Just like in the work field now, 8 hours is to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Anything after 8 hours is an investment on how good you want to be at whatever you want to do. So you just got to be willing to put a little bit more time in to get to where you want to go. And that's one thing I think everybody in our class did. So that's what made that 2013 and 2014, those teams a little bit different and set us apart. We were all like pissed off for it. We all wanted to win. We all wanted to be the best. And I think we did that. We proved that. We did it. You looking at the all conference teams, it's all Marshall guys.
Yeah, it was littered. Littered is a great word because it was littered. I look back to 2013 in particular, because 14 we can talk about until we're blue in the face because it's fun to talk about. But I go a year before that and I look at 2013 and I go, that's when they turned the corner. That was when okay, 2014 could really be gearing up to be something pretty special. In particularly, I think not for me. I mean, I felt that way for a lot of the year. I felt like, man, we're really getting better each week to where next year this could be monstrous. But for a lot of people, it's going to be the Military Bowl. And they say, oh, they're going to play Maryland in Annapolis, and we're basically in Maryland's backyard. We're going to go up there, and all these just run of the mill regular fans, not Herd fans, mind you, but just college football fans are like, Maryland's going to beat the brakes off of this team, you know. And even in the parking lot, I was hearing that. You guys ain't got a chance. I'm like, you must not watch Marshall football, you know. And well, we know
look
how
at that though.
Yeah.
John Davis, 2nd round draft pick. Gator Hoskins tortured him the entire game. Who's stopping Tommy Schuler?
No one.
No one. F-Ray Taliaferro. Give you your flowers, Tally. Yeah. You were a great running back for us. It's just so many people, man. That would have been a great example of somebody who really didn't get their flowers, though. That's Ray Taliaferro. And what he did for us our junior year, his junior year. I mean, my junior year, his senior year. Dude was a big time guy.
I would agree. He's an excellent example of that. That's really good that you mentioned his name. He was one of those guys that was all of a sudden like, all right, it's your show. Run with it. And he had a great senior season. He really did. Now, we're not talking about a 2,000-yard rusher. No, that's different. That's a different argument. You're talking about a guy that had to get the job done, right? In order to keep this Marshall machine moving. And he showed up and did it every week. That's a great example.
A 1,000-yard rusher, over 10 touchdowns.
That's a great example. That's a great example. F-Ray Taliaferro is a great example of what we were talking about earlier.
Yes, sir.
So I know that we've talked about this a lot. Marshall is very near and dear to you, but why? Why? What is your personal why when it comes to Marshall? Why does it maintain this place that is special to you? Lots of people graduate and it's like, well, that was where I was for 4 years and I just move on. But it sticks with some of us. I'm one of those guys. So why is it special to you still some 10 years later?
It's just because, man, the opportunity my university gave me. I still text Coach Hamrick, Coach Holliday, just tell them thank you. Tara Helton, Brad Helton, I still go see them if I get a chance. They played UC one year. I went to go see them. It's just all those people, man, and just everything that they did for us. They definitely gave us every opportunity to not only come live out our dreams and play Division I football, but set us up for success as well in life. That's one thing I did like about our coaches. They would just always tell us, don't get your education, get educated. So anytime we were doing anything or we were going to class and they felt like somebody was doing our work for us, like Coach Heater hated it. Like the one thing about it, you can say what you want to say about Chuck, you know, he can be a stubborn guy, but at the same time, he only wants you to do the right thing and do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So, man, those people in West Virginia, I love them. Shout out to Miss Helton. Shout out to Coach Gale, the entire coaching staff. If anybody that was there when I was there and just gave us the opportunity and graced us with all the opportunities and benefits that they gave us, thank you guys. I love you guys. That's it for me, man.
I'm glad you brought up Coach Heater because when I was talking to Chase, he made me make him a promise. He said, if you ever get anybody else that played defense under Coach Heater, he said, we've all got them. You've got to get their impression of Chuck Heater because we all got him. He used to yell at us all practice long, and he's on there talking about, you got to strain.
Come on, guys. You gotta.
I know you can still hear it right now. It's in your ear right now. You can hear this man.
I had tweeted that one time on Twitter. I was like, man, I think my employees think I'm crazy. I was like, man, shout out to Coach Heater. I just like, come on, you gotta be energy guys. I was like, I'm gonna be in HR's office tomorrow. Quote these Chuck Heater quotes.
Yeah.
It was just like a testament to a strong-willed guy, an accountability guy,
Yeah.
That's what keeps us going in our career fields now. I think that's why we're so successful in where we are now, because I think everything just from football translates to life. And for me, I'm just like, yeah, you just want to outwork me, so good luck.
So, do you have a favorite Coach Heater saying? Chase gave me some gems, man. He's like, yeah, I think about these all the time. But he mentioned strain, but he said, man, Coach Heater had a million of things he would say. Do you still
Man,
use some of them on your employees?
Man, listen, man. Everything about Coach Heater, man, that guy was crazy. Even though Adam Fuller was my guy too. Todd
Yeah.
Hartley was one of my coaches as
Oh
well.
yeah.
All
Yeah.
the success he's having at UGA.
Yeah.
But everything about him. Chuck Heater be like, hey, come on now, guys. This is your team. This is your team. I got my team. Michigan. I got my team. This is your team. Man, listen, that guy and everything about him was he just wanted to be the best. And like looking back at it now, I understand it more than I did when I was a student athlete.
Yeah.
And this dude is nuts. He's crazy. But then like looking back at it now, it's just like you understand, like, we get it. We get it now.
It does take some time. I equate a lot of that to like when your old man is lecturing you when you're growing up and you don't get a lot of it until you have a son. And you're like, gee, many Christmas, do I understand that shit now?
Right.
But I've never played for, this is not breaking news here. My athletic career ended in high school, right? Obviously. I mean, but I didn't play for these high level coaches that had another gear, they could get you to another gear. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't around that sort of motivation. I wasn't around that sort of accountability and excellence of execution type stuff. So the best I can do is relate it to the parenting world. And that's where I fit into the world right now. Like, man, maybe some of the wisdom that was being imparted on me some 20 years ago really did make a little bit of sense. But,
right.
So let's close out with a couple of just little tidbits here. Do you still keeping up with the herd?
Always, man. That kind of question is that, KD?
Well, it's the kind of question I got to ask because I got to make sure that you still care.
Always,
yeah,
and forever.
Yeah.
Bury me in green.
But I know this. See, but I think some of our folks that were listening would love to know that. Hey, man. Awesome. DJ still cares about the herd,
I will never turn my back on Marshall University. No matter what. Even when they were going through it in 2016, I'm in the CFL. I'm still talking crazy every single day in practice. Like, hey, guys, you wouldn't have beat us. I don't care where you went. You wouldn't have beat us. I don't care where you went to school. So
yeah,
I'm blood in, blood out, bleed Kelly Green, Marshall University guy.
I know you're a Conference USA guy too, but what do you find this new conference, the Sun Belt? Do you find it? How do you find it? Let me ask you that. Do you think it's pretty nice setup? Do you think it's, what are your thoughts on that?
Man, I think it's set up nice, to be completely honest. Gives them a chance to travel a little bit more, a little bit higher competition, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because Western Kentucky is obviously took a slide back.
Well, the conference did. They just got left in it, that kind of deal.
Yeah, and I don't know about Southern Miss. Are they still with us or no?
With us, they're in the West. Southern Miss is in the SBC West. Yeah, they came along with us.
It was a couple good teams though, like James Madison. Coastal is always going to be good. The Raging Cajuns, it's a lot of good competition. I think it's good for us, but I think we're gonna run the table, man. I got faith in Huff, and I got faith in his program and his staff and what they're gonna do. So I hope they turn it around and bring us a trophy home this year. I hope he get it.
I think that's the next step, right? Year 1 under Coach Huff, 7 wins. Year 2 under Coach Huff, 9 wins. So if we continue on this trajectory, there's nowhere to go but 10, 11, and 12, and it's going to get tough. We know it's going to get tough.
Right.
But we're excited. We folks might listen to this, God knows how many years from now, right? But currently in the real time on the ThunderCast, we have just started our position group breakdowns for 2023, and so we're diving deep into each position group, and man, I'll tell you what, they're deep. They are deep.
Are they?
Yes, they're pretty deep. I mean, this defensive line will frighten you. This linebacking core is pretty deep. They really hit the portal and plugged some holes. You know what I mean? That defense, I think, if you did a roster dive right now on the defense, I think you'd be like, dang, these guys are pretty deep. You know, and if you hit the recruiting, the commitment tweets and all that kind of stuff, and you're like, oh snap, defensive lineman here. Like 2-3 weeks ago, we hit maybe 4 or 5 guys in a week, you know, from the portal, and it's like we went out and recruited an entire defensive line on top of what we already had. It's like I don't know if they're going to be able to find a weakness even when these dudes are tired. You know what I mean?
This is then you putting the icing on the cake. This is already, I'm calling it now. So hopefully everybody else benefited from the portal like we did, but hopefully they didn't. So we can just run the table and do what I think we can do.
This defense is, I'm thinking it's going to make you proud, right? Because they should have last year, right?
They were about to say last year.
They were a top 8 defense last year in total defense and led in rush defense. I mean, I know that's the kind of thing that guys like yourself in the second level, you really hang your hat on that run defense, right? You really want to stop that. And those guys were able to do that. And some of the guys that were returning, I mean, Owen Porter, I don't know if there's a more, like, if you had to close your eyes and imagine, like, what's a Marshall dude look like? I think it's Owen Porter, because he's a throwback look. Man, how can you not? I mean, he would have fit right in 14. He would have fit right freaking in there.
Yeah, I like his celebration.
the best celebration in college football, bar none.
For sure.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So you're going to be able to make it back to any games at all this year, you think? One, maybe?
100%. I'm always going to come back to one, at least one, every single year till the day I die.
Nice.
I'm thinking about the Virginia Tech game, so I think that's at home. So I'll probably come back and see that one just so we can torture Grant Wells.
Oh yeah. All right. Okay. A little bit of a interesting wrinkle in that game. Yeah. That'll be fun. I know a lot of fans are looking forward to that too. Nothing against him personally, but it's just a storyline that they're like, we want to really get them. Plus, we kind of owe him one. You know, we should have had him a couple of times over the years, and we weren't able to fully get the job done. But
we should have beat him for sure.
Was that at home? Or you
at Virginia Tech in the rain in the triple overtime loss.
Oh yeah, I remember. What was that? Some freaky receiving touchdown or something like that. That I don't remember. But
Swag literally had the ball in his hands, and it just like slipped through his gloves, and the dude just like caught it. We should have beat them. We were the better team.
Yeah. So we owe them one. It's time we get one from them. This team, if this team comes out and goes 4-0 in the non-con, they could be sniffing around, flirting with that 25 spot. I don't know how low in the rankings they're going to start that preliminary ranking. You know, if they're 60th, maybe not. But I mean, dude, you go in and beat Virginia Tech, East Carolina, and North Carolina State in Raleigh.
Oh, we might be in the top 10. if we finish the season out, imagine if we close it out with those signature wins.
Right.
There's no reason we're not in the top 10, and they're going to a BCS bowl, and I'm going to be there.
Hey, if they ever catch a New York NY6 bowl, you got to go. You got to go.
I'm going for sure. I'll be there.
See, we're trying to build towards this, making a run at the expanded college football playoff, right? We know we're going to get a seat at the table eventually, a couple of years. And athletic director Christian Spears and Huff, that's what they want to push for, right? And we know it's going to take everybody rowing the boat in the same direction. And I say this a lot, that championship level football requires championship level fans, championship level players, coaches, donations, all of it. It's got to be at a championship level. And if that's truly what we want to do, then we can't just say we want to be about it. We got to be about it, right?
Right. Everybody play a part for sure.
Yeah. Look, man, this has been a freaking fun conversation. I love whenever I get an opportunity to sit down and shoot the breeze with you a little bit. Now you're tasked with getting in that group message and saying, hey, y'all got to get on, do an episode of Inside the Thunder, because you'll have a great time. I love talking about yesteryear and the things we were able to do. And I really love hearing about how our greats get to Marshall. I love hearing those things. And I know our herd fans love hearing that stuff too. So Thanks a million for sitting down with me this evening. Every episode on this show, what I like to do is I quiet down, I turn the mic over to you, and I give you this forum to say whatever you want to say to whoever you want to say it to for as long as you want to say it, as my way of saying thank you for spending your time with me. And I really appreciate it. So I'm going to pipe down for a minute. The floor is yours, my man.
Oh, man. So really just thank you to the fans, all the Marshall alum, just everybody, man, y'all made it a great experience for us, definitely, for the time that we were there. I feel like we definitely got the program turned around and back to where it's supposed to be. So shout out to you guys. Shout out to my former teammates, the university as a whole. And that's really it, man.
That's good enough for me. Check it out. I am KD Hudnall. That is DJ Hunter. And this is Inside the Thunder. We'll see you next time. Later.